Hello and welcome to another episode of Tutorial Thursdays. This episode is a bit of a special because it's an admin edition. You, as the administrator, you've set up your TrendMiner server, you've connected the data sources like the historian, SQL servers, and even provided a single sign-on experience for your users. Now, as a next step, obviously you want to make sure that the business-critical application that TrendMiner is for your users is always available. One way to do that is to integrate TrendMiner in the normal system monitoring stack that you might be using, such as if you're using the Elk stack, you might want to visualize the TrendMiner metrics on the Kibana dashboard. But today we're going to use Grafana. Grafana is a very popular option because of its open source nature, and it's also the option we use internally at TrendMiner. In this tutorial, we'll follow 3 easy steps to provide your system metrics to Grafana. The first step is to make sure that the Prometheus endpoint that TrendMiner provides to pick up these system metrics is available to the outside world. In the second step, we will configure the data sources in Grafana. And the third and final step is to import the pre-built dashboard for Grafana that we provide to make sure you don't have to spend too much time writing your own queries. The first step is to make sure that the Prometheus endpoints that TrendMiner provides are accessible to the outside world. You can achieve this by making sure port 9100 is open on the TrendMiner client side and is also available in your network. This typically involves changing some firewall rules, making sure that the system monitoring server and TrendMiner can talk to one another over that port 9100 or 9100. You can check this in your browser by going to the typical TrendMiner URL and adding :9100 at the end. If your changes were successful, you should be able to see a similar screen to mine, which shows you the Prometheus endpoint, and you can start writing queries from here. For the second step, we're going to jump into Grafana now. As mentioned before, Grafana is a very popular dashboarding tool to visualize system metrics. The first thing we have to do in Grafana is set up the data source. This involves setting up and pointing Grafana to the endpoints that Prometheus provides and that we just discussed in the previous step. The way to look at this in Grafana is by going to your configuration and the data sources tab. We're going to add a new data source, and Prometheus is actually one of the native connectors that Grafana offers. So all we have to do is select the Prometheus endpoint and configure the details that we have here. Now, for this example, we're going to use the browser settings, but in your case, you will be working with a Grafana server, TrendMiner server, so the setting will have to be the server. So we're going to change this to browser, and we're going to point Grafana to this endpoint that we were just using. We'll copy paste it in here, remove the slash, because that tricked me up earlier, and we can save and test. If everything is successful, you will see a green check mark saying the data source is now working. This means you can now use it in your dashboards. For the third and final step, we're going to download the template that TrendMiner provides and import it into our Grafana as a dashboard. The location where you can find this example is on our normal download server. So the usual location where you would pick up upgrade files, you can also find the Grafana tmmetrics.json, as you can see here. So I will save this to my local machine. And all I have to do now is import this into my Grafana dashboard. Jumping back over to Grafana, you will find the plus, import, and here I can just upload this JSON file. I will go ahead and select it, hit open, and we'll give this a unique name and import it. There we go. As you can see, it's already pointing to my data source that I had configured before. If not, I would just go into data source and select the option that I need. From here, you can easily start monitoring your application. As you can see, we're currently at a disk space usage of about 83%. We only use 51% of our memory, and I can also follow up the individual CPU usage. Let's say one of our users would report slowness of the application. You would go in and start looking at, for example, the CPU usage. Maybe for prolonged stretches of time, your CPUs are at 80 or 100%. And then from here, you can easily see which one of the containers is causing this high CPU usage. That's all there is to it, dear admins. 3 simple steps, and you'll be able to start monitoring TrendMiner in your system monitoring tool of choice. In this case, we use Grafana, but the same metrics can be applied to any of your system monitoring tools that you might use. We know most of our customers are also using Grafana, but if you're using another tool, feel free to let us know and we'll see if we can provide a similar template that you can start using out of the box and make your life even easier. I hope you learned something today. As always, drop us a note, contact us, jump in the chat. If you want to see something covered in the next tutorial Thursday, let us know and we'll be happy to set it up for you. Thanks and have a good one.